Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. So I'm going to share my screen. So hello, everybody, again. Thank you for being here. My name is Javier, and I'm going to be going over two things today, as Mike mentioned. First, I want to start off by talking about Perplexity. So Perplexity is a large language model that is similar in principle in how it functions compared to what you've heard of ChatGPT, Gemini. But the difference is that Perplexity was created in 2022 mainly as a fact-based AI engine for doing research, for giving you the most current up-to-date citations and web sources from the internet. And every time you prompt Perplexity, it'll usually provide a link with the source of where that information is coming from. They're actually one of the pioneers to do that. We have seen that in ChatGPT and Gemini. They do that now as well. But Perplexity has been consistently ranked as the top large language model when it comes to citations and providing sources. And so I want to keep in mind that every large language model that's out there, when they're designed, they all have different strengths and weaknesses. And while Perplexity excels in citations and live sources, it's not as great in being a creative large language model as, let's say, ChatGPT or Gemini. So it doesn't do the reasoning that those large language models do. It won't be as great for creating poetry or pictures, but it will definitely be a great resource for accuracy. And so Perplexity went even further, and they created a AI integrated browser. And this is the future that AI is shaping out. We're going to have AI integrated browsers. In fact, after Perplexity did it, several months later, ChatGPT dropped their own AI integrated browser. It's called Atlas. I haven't had the chance to use it yet because I've been so stuck on Comet and all the great features that it has. So for starters, if you want to use Comet, you can download it on your phone. It's available on both the App Store for iPhone, and it's available in the Play Store for Android. You can also download it on your PC or your laptop. So the way to do that is to go to your current browser. In this case, I'm using Chrome, and you're just going to type download Comet browser. When you type download Comet browser, the first link you're going to get is right up here from the perplexity.ai website. And then you're just going to click download Comet and just follow the prompts for the setup and install it. Now, here's a cool tip about the Comet browser. If you make the Comet browser your default browser, it will skip ads on YouTube. You will never deal with ads. In fact, it will block ads anywhere on any site. So that's one plus and advantage to having it, is that you will be completely ad-free using this browser, and you don't need to pay for YouTube Plus or anything, or premium or whatever it's called. So here's what the browser looks like. It it really much feels like a base of operations as opposed to just a large language model. You have the standard features that you would normally have in Perplexity because this browser is using Perplexity as its brain. That means that any fact finding information, any reasoning, the way this is trained, the machine learning data sets, it's all using Perplexity as its brain. And so it's a AI integrated browser with Perplexity. And what that also means is that because it's AI integrated, any website you visit on this browser, you can have that information summarized by the AI brain. But before we get into that, I want to talk about privacy settings and how you should set up and calibrate your privacy settings. So there's two ways to do that here, and you have to do both of them. Now, Perplexity says, and we'll go first to the settings over here. So here at the top right corner where it says menu, you get the menu instructions for this browser. And I'm going to go right here to settings. And I'm going to go straight to privacy and security. And this is where you want to be first. And the first thing that I turn off, because I'm someone that really likes to protect their data as best they can. And you're not going to protect all of your data. Let me make it clear that no matter what you search for, Perplexity uses that data to get an understanding of how their machine is operating. And so they may store prompts They may store things that you research. If you use the summarizing feature, it may store whatever it sees. But there are ways to mitigate how much data they're able to keep. And so the first thing that I turn off is right here, automatically send usage statistics and crash reports to Perplexity. And I keep that toggled off. The next thing, and I'll show you, is we go to the Comment Assistant tab up here, just to give you an idea of how it uses your data. And so what they say here is your data stays on your device by default. AI browsing data, including websites you visit, cookies, is stored solely on your device. Comment shares only minimum data needed. Now that's the key right here, is that they're still going to extract some data to use it for their information so that they can personalize the way this browser works and keep making improvements. But ultimately, some data is going to get away, but you can reduce that. The next way to do it is we're going to get out of this section right here. I can just go back. There we go. And then I'm going to go down to the bottom left where my account name is. And I'm going to go to, I believe it's preferences. Yes. So here, AI data retention allows Perplexity to use your searches to improve AI models. I turned that off as well. And so this is just my way of trying to keep myself as safe and protected as I can, and not putting anything personal, like social security numbers, credit cards, and so forth. So now, right here.
Can I ask a question real quick, just for everybody
Yes,
who's
sir.
listening?
Sure.
Why is it important to know that these features exist to turn off sharing your data to train models? Like, what does that really matter? I mean, all our info is out there anyways, right? Is there a specific reason?
Well, that's there is a undertoning ideology that because all our info is out there, we should just give it away. But I feel like a lot of data does have value in terms of it could be our own ideas that are out there that we're engaging with these large language models, innovative ideas that we're putting out there. And some of those ideas can be extracted from those data sets and we wouldn't have control over it. And so we don't want to make it easy for these companies to make it feel like we're so assimilated in giving our data away. That still is a very important conversation to have. I'll leave it there because it does go further, but thank you for asking. I appreciate that. So right here now is the basic page. Now, if I go up here to the top, and let's say I want to go to any website, like, I don't know, like CNN.com, and I hit enter. If I hit .com, it's going to work like a regular website. And I can click on any of these stories, right? And I can just now use my features here at the top. So my features here are summarize the current web page, launch voice mode, and the assistant. So if I click summarize the web page, I can get all the key points of whatever page I am on. It doesn't have to be a website per se. It can be your emails, it could be YouTube, but I can get all these key points. And then I can have a conversation with it by using this launch voice mode. Hey, can you hear me?
Javi, you're still good. I can hear you.
Oh no, I was asking actually the voice assistant.
I'm here. What would you like to do next?
Could you hear the voice assistant's responses?
Yes.
I can only hear and respond to you. I only hear what you share directly.
Hey, so tell me about this story that I'm looking at right now.
Iran-linked hackers accessed FBI Director Kash Patel's personal email, stealing and publishing photos and documents from before he became FBI Director. The emails date from around 2011 to 2022.
When did this happen?
This breach was reported today, March 27th, 2026, and the emails taken range from 2011 to 2022.
How is this relevant to me, a U.S. citizen?
This story shows foreign hackers can target even high-level officials, that the FBI says no government systems were breached. As a US citizen, it's a reminder to secure your personal accounts and stay aware of cyber threats.
Thank you. That's kind of like on the money when we were talking about data in some way. But that's just to show you that this system has a really well integrated voice system into its database, and you could have fluid back and forth conversations. Now, let's say I was using ChatGPT, right? And in ChatGPT, I wanted to build a GPT or a personal agent, but I'm not too adept in building it. Here's what I love about the Perplexity browser is that you have AI here as an assistant looking at your AI pages. So I can have Perplexity analyzing what ChatGPT tells me. And the great thing about Perplexity is that it is consistently ranked high when it comes to citations and resources. And so I can really trust it as a fact-finding partner. That does not mean I trust it 100%. I never trust any AI 100%. These are systems that are flawed and have biases and hallucinations. And though they say they're improving, you always want to cross-reference that work and double check it. But I do feel some sense of security here, knowing that Perplexity is right here by my side, fact-checking ChatGPT. And
Javier,
so I can.
let me toss a question
sir.
at you for the audience. What are hallucinations? Because we've heard this in generative AI when you're making pictures, and for example, you see 6 fingers on a hand.
Yeah.
What is a hallucination in terms of data? Can you just briefly go over that?
Sure, no problem. So whenever you prompt AI, you are engaging with the knowledge base of that AI system. And that AI system does its best to address your prompt with the information it has. But sometimes the data inside that knowledge base is not great data, meaning there may be conflicting information in the knowledge base, or it may misinterpret what you asked for and compare it to something else. Not to mention, AI has a trouble of admitting that it does not know. And so it tries to give you some type of answer because it feels that you won't be satisfied just not having an answer from it. So hallucinations stem from these logical fallacies that it's trying to be accurate, but it misinterprets your information, or that the data inside the system itself is not up to date or current. And you always risk having hallucinations when it comes to AI. So now let's say I'm using ChatGPT and I'm exploring GPTs, and I've never made a GPT before, but I want to learn how. All right, I can go here to create, and now I can bring up my assistant, and my assistant immediately is going to scan this page, and it's going to tell me this is an editor for creating custom GPTs where you configure a name, right? And it's going to give me some more detailed information, and then it's going to say, do you want help drafting the instructions and description for a specific GPT? So why not? I can say something like, yes, I want to create a GPT. Olga, do you have an idea of a random GPT you'd like to create?
Oh my God.
That
A GPT that proofreads your LinkedIn content.
excellent. That proofreads your LinkedIn content. And now I have AI working side by side with me on another AI, and it's going to give me instructions on how I should fill this out. And so it's going to think for a little bit, and that's good. We want it to think. I'm letting somebody else in the room. Monica just joined us. Welcome, Monica. Oh, and a very important point, it was just asking me right now if I wanted to give it control of the browser. And so that's a very cool feature that you can have if, let's say, you want to save time or you're doing multiple things at once. And so I can say, take over the browser and fill out the information for this GPT. And I'm going to say allow once. Now you see this mystical energy surrounding my screen, right? That means that it is on AI agent mode. And so this AI integrated browser will take your commands and it will fill out information for you. And it's pretty much creating this GPT for me. But just because it's creating it for me, does that mean I want to completely trust everything it does? Perhaps there's something in this information that it's filling out that I want to correct or add or modify. So always keep that human in the loop experience so you can add to it. But I will say it does a great job at staying on task. And you can use this for many things. I can open up Google Slides or Excel, and I can say, fill out this spreadsheet with the information that I'm going to provide to you, and I can paste it, and it'll go into this mode. All I have to do is say, take over the browser. I can even say,
love it, Javi. This is Cynthia. If I could jump
hey,
in
Cynthia.
real quick.
Yes, please do.
This is amazing. I'm totally biased, and my favorite is Claude. So even though I know I have this capability, I haven't played around it as much as I clearly should. And that's what my question is. In comparing Claude on Chrome that has the ability to do this and Perplexity, which do you prefer and why?
As far as taking over the browser?
Yeah. And I'll give you a minute to think, but just based on what you've shown, this is much faster. For me, when I have Claude do it, it syncs up for way too long and it's sapping all my tokens. And I feel like Perplexity is more generous with their tokens. So I was wanting to get your input, your experience. What have you seen? What's working? Share that side of us with us.
Oh, great question, Cynthia. I haven't had the Claude, but my microphone, can you hear me?
No, yes.
Okay.
Now we can, yes.
Sorry, I got a phone call. So I haven't had the privilege of trying that with Claude, but I will say that that feature was specifically built in mind when it came to creating Comet. It's supposed to have agentic properties where you can give it tasks to do for yourself, and you could work on multiple tabs, and you can instruct it to say, go on tab 1 and find me tickets for the Knicks this Friday. And it'll take over the browser and find you those tickets. It'll actually show going through the website. So because it was created for that specific purpose, and it's using the Chromium browser layout to support that, I would definitely prefer Comet when it comes to that. Now, let's say, Cynthia, if I wanted Claude to take over the browser and produce something that requires more creativity, more nuance, I might go with that just because this is using Perplexity's brain, which is not as creative as other large language models. So you sort of have to use some discernment when it comes to what you're using it for. And I say that to everyone. Whatever task you want to accomplish with AI, try to evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of different large language models because they all have different strengths and weaknesses. And once you understand those strengths and weaknesses, you can figure out, okay, I have a task specifically for deep research and keeping sources grounded. Maybe I want to use Notebook LM because it doesn't have any hallucination. Or if I need something that can give a tone of voice of creativity to my work, maybe I want to use ChatGPT. So it really just depends on those nuances. But great question, Cynthia. Thank you. And so I've pretty much configured this now, and I can go on ahead and create it. And I have this GPT. And again, I would use the human in the loop factor and just go over that. Another great feature about this is I can go to YouTube, and YouTube is a great place to teach yourself, especially how to use AI, right? And I can ask for a video on how do I create AI agents, which has been a hot topic for me this last month. As Olga and Cynthia and Michael know, I've been asking them for help. And so I can look at this video right now. I can click on it.
What if I told you that there is a way to build?
And I can summarize this entire YouTube video because these YouTube videos have transcripts. And so the AI agent here accesses the transcripts within YouTube videos. And then you can create follow-up questions. And I can say, based on the information in this video, build out a comprehensive step-by-step instruction guide on building AI agents. And here's another cool thing about Comet and Perplexity I should mention. It has access to other models from ChatGPT, from Claude, and even has its own models. And NVIDIA just recently dropped a new model, which you can try. And I got Comet Pro at free for a whole year because I was playing around with the PayPal app. And sometimes if you look at the PayPal app, they'll have little sales, or they'll have a section where they have like, they'll give you a percentage off of some account. Let's say you want to use ChatGPT, they'll give you 10% off. In my case, they gave me a whole year free of Comet with Perplexity Pro. And so I'm using not the free version of Perplexity, but the Pro version. But you can switch between different models because every model, again, has its strengths and weaknesses. GPT 5.4 is great for multimodality. It's great for math and logic, whereas Claude Summit is great for writing and analysis. And so if I want to incorporate that in my research on Perplexity, I can switch between those different models. And it's like having different large language models in one center, one base, but you have Perplexity as the brain, which is the ultimate when it comes to fact finding and citations and providing links and sources. And so you're building a real legit AI headquarters here.
Javi, I have
And
a
so,
question
yes.
about that. So if we switch between language models, that means that Perplexity will start acting as those, or it's just in conjunction together? How that
So
works?
it will start acting as a ChatGPT, or it will start acting as Claude. But then again, you have that assistant feature here on the side. And so you can use the citation feature that Comet brings, that Perplexity brings, and add that in addition to it.
So if we pay the Pro version of Perplexity, we get access to all of the others. That's what it means.
Get access to most of those models. I can't say all because as you see here, Claude Opus 4.6, you need the max version. So there's the free, there's the plus, and then there's the max. But what max also has is it has model council mode. So you can have 3 AI models like ChatGPT, Claude, and let's say Gemini, all having a discussion about whatever it is you're searching. And then you can compare the results all at once. And so I have this instruction guide here now, and it says ask anything. So now I can say, great, make this into a PDF. Right? And I can share this now with anyone in PDF form. And so those are just some really cool features. I really love the assistant. No matter what website I go to, no matter what other large language model I'm using, this assistant is here on the side to analyze and to help guide me through using these different features. Even if I don't know how to use them, it's a great partner on the side to just break down, well, hey, what does this mean? What is the benefit of Opus 4.6? Just ask it questions and it'll be there for you. So right now it's building that guide of instructions. That looks like it's done. And you see it's pretty fast, which is great because you're getting facts and speed at a good rate. I'm just trying to see if I can would you like me to create a companion slide?
Javi, you are a hit. We're all loving this. Our minds are blown away. I especially liked how you can show us the different models, but seeing where we're at time, I think we're going to have to come back and schedule just a full session on this and how to set it up and like a more in-depth, because I really want you to have the opportunity to talk us through the other stuff. This is amazing. Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoy it. No problem. All right. So that concludes the Comet browser. feature, but I'm still gonna work on my Comet browser. And now I'm gonna go over here to Claude. So I have a whole folder of different large language models that I use. And right now I have Claude open. Now the reason I want to use Claude is because I want to modify my resume, this one right here. And if you've been with us in previous episodes, you may have seen this demonstration. I'm gonna run it again just to show you that you can take any resume that you have and improve it. And Cynthia, you can speak on this as well, but I know you love using Claude, and it's great for analysis, writing, and I've read that it has the best resume review and analysis. Have you used it in your career as well?
Thank you, Javi. I love it. And I'll add some context. Claude is better for writing and strategy and deeper dives simply because the data that was fed to it. So all the LLMs usually, when they launched, most of them used OpenAI as a foundation. So they used ChatGPT's data pretty much, but then they added to it, right? And a lot of them scraped the internet to compile this info. But what Claude did that differentiates its results and why it tends to hallucinate less and write at a higher academic level is because they were intentional about who scraped more of the data and who were the data feeders, for lack of better words. They relied heavily on universities and people in academia, master students, doctorate students. So that's why the results are different, because it is tailored to a more professional and academic-like environment. And that is why it excels in all things strategy and writing, that it's its strong suit. So I've used it extensively for resume or anything related that's going to go out to the public. So anything that is going to be forward facing, I will stick to Claude for that reason, because it'll generate better results. I hope that's what you were looking for, Javi.
Oh yeah, 100%. I love that you mentioned how reliable the data is. As they say, garbage in, garbage out. But if you have good data, you get better outputs.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So right now I'm developing a prompt. I uploaded the resume by hitting this plus sign, going to add files, and going to my file explorer and putting it. And now I'm creating a prompt that says you are an HR recruiter and career mentor, because it's great to give AI a role. It focuses on a specific part of its knowledge base, right? Because when you're talking to AI, you're talking to a vast digital library. You want to really focus on the information that is beneficial to you. And because I'm uploading this resume and modifying it, I want it to bring out the knowledge that an HR recruiter would have or a career mentor would have. So you give it that role, then you give it the task, modify this resume to be ATS ready and include a value proposition statement. Value proposition statement will go in your summary and will speak to what value in terms of numbers you add to the jobs that you've been at, right? So it may ask you for percentages. And I'm going to say, ask me questions to clarify anything, all right? And I'm doing that because I want AI to be more iterative. I want it to make sure that it knows what it is that I want or what it is that I do. You don't want to leave room for AI to guess what it is you want, because that's where you have a higher risk of hallucinations and just not getting the information you want. So I'm just showing you this in the shortcut. I'm gonna actually I have a whole prompt. You know what? Better yet, you're an HR recruiter, and I'm gonna say,
Avi, let
help
me ask
me
you a question while
create a
you're
prompt.
setting that up for the listeners.
Yes, sir.
So can I use these features with the free version of Claude, or do I need to get the pro version in order to be able to drag and drop a document so that I can upload it and essentially scan it?
Yeah, great question, Mike. You can use the free version for that. When it comes to uploading documents, it's already built in that it can access your file explorer. The difference in with the pro version is that it may do more research in the knowledge base to give back better outputs and offer other features, but the free version will let you do that. So what I asked it was, you are an HR recruiter and career mentor. Help me create a prompt So this is what we call meta prompting, when AI creates the prompts for you. Now, the reason why I enjoy meta prompting is because, one, it understands prompt engineering. It's built into the system itself. And prompt engineering, like I said, includes the role, the task, the instruction, and the output format that you want. So by saying you are building a prompt, it's incorporating all of that. Not to mention, I did give it that role of HR recruiter and career mentor. So it's going to build me a prompt that really helps me optimize my resume. And here it is coming out. But I did tell it to ask me questions just to make sure and clarify some statements. And so now it's asking me for specific questions after analyzing my resume. And what I love about Claude that ChatGPT doesn't do is it gives you this multiple choice sort of thing where you can just click and answer. So what type of role are you optimizing this for? AI education. Which of these elements do you want to include? Let's go with quantifiable metrics. Do you want the prompt to produce final doc or generate the optimized text first? For the sake of this, let's just get that final doc ready, right? And now that I've answered those clarifying questions, it's refining the prompt that it's building. So we're increasing accuracy towards our desired goal. Any questions in the chat? Let me know.
We do have several, but we're going to reserve them for a bit later. Fascinating to see this in action. And that's the thing about AI, right? It's always mind-blowing. Great work, Javi. Thank you for sharing this with us.
Thank you. All right. So the Valley
questions too. It helps me to organize my thoughts. So it's unlike some of the other language models that it just spits out an answer to satisfy that response that we need. This one actually helps you to think and structure your response. So I'm loving it already.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. So while it's doing that and building out the prompt, I just want to make sure I'm on time here, and I'm going to show a second feature, which is the job hunting portion, right? And so let's say I have a finalized resume that I want to use, which I do, and I'm going to jump into that really fast. All right, so this is the resume that I'm currently using. All right, and I want to put in career, any available roles online right now, that match my resume and professional experience. Include a rating system to show how much of a match my resume is for that role. And I could decide too what model I want to use here. So I'm going to go with the Sonnet 4.6 just because it is a little faster than Opus 4.6, just to be on time here. So
we lost you, Javi. Oh, here. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. What I was saying was that I want to use the model Sonnet 4.6 because it's a little faster than Opus 4.6, just to stay on time here. But on your own time and leisure, maybe you want to use the more advanced model just so it can do a little heavier research and give you quality results at a certain speed. And so I asked that this include a rating system because I want to see whatever roles that this gives me, it's going to let me know your resume is a 90% match to this role, or your resume is an 80% match to this role. And I want to strike roles that have a higher percentage of me getting hired there because the language that they use in their job descriptions is a better fit for the language that I'm using in my resume. And so it's building. Let's check out our other tab here. And here's the resume that we modified. So you all remember how that resume looked before with the millions of bullet points and everything like that? This one still has a lot of bullet points. And so I'm going to do a follow-up prompt. And what's great is that you can modify it as you go. I'm going to say consolidate work experience to no more than 4 or 5 bullet points that capture the work I do. And I could definitely do a much better prompt than this, but this is on the fly. But it's just to show you that you can modify it as you go. And so it's going to take this document, throw it in the trash, keep what's useful, and disregard what's not useful, particularly all the extra bullet points. It may consolidate these bullet points so that instead of 8 of them, I have the 5 best that represent the work that I did.
This
And I'm
is
going to jump.
awesome, Javi. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's pause there, see if anybody has any questions. I feel like our audience is super quiet. So let's make sure you guys are still there and following. We're still good? Anybody questions, thoughts? Want to
What's
go
in the
back?
chat?
Are we going too fast? Let's hear from you. And we do have
Go
a
ahead.
comment from Virginia. Thank you, Virginia, for stepping in. She's sharing that it's very useful. It's saving her time. She's sharing she uses multiple prompts to model and tailor her resume, which is awesome. Love that. And I'll turn it over to you, Javi.
Yeah, Carla asks, what is a good source to evaluate a large language model? Great question, because large language models are constantly being evaluated, Carla. And so what you want to do is use Perplexity to research and put this as a prompt. Give me the latest on the most current large language models and show me which ones are ranked the best right now. And you could specify rank the best when it comes to math, logic, or just general use. And you can have it give, and it will basically give you a link to the most latest article that assesses these large language models. They're constantly being assessed. So that's something you always want to look out for. Great question. Looking at any other questions? Okay. Monica asked, what are we using? So we are using Claude, the large language model Claude, but we're using it on the Comet browser by Perplexity. All right. And so here are the results for job matches, right? 93% match, learning partner. Digital equity analysis, 88% match. And so looking through all of these jobs, maybe I want to just apply to the top 3 ratings right now. And it shows me what they pay, and it shows me what they entail. But then you can go view the posting and open the link externally. And here I am at Play Labs. By the way, I already applied for this, so maybe I'll do it again just to remind them that I'm out there. Here's a pro tip though. Make sure that whenever Perplexity gives you a link, look through that link and check for dates. On some occasion, it has given me links from like 2024 or 2025. And so you may want to recalibrate your prompt to say, give me the most latest and current information. And looking back at the resume after I told it to consolidate those bullet points, here we go. This is the brand new resume, bullet points consolidated. And now I can download this. And I could make edits and corrections on my end. So that is pretty much what I wanted to show you today is how you can use the Perplexity browser. You can use the summarization feature. You can even have a conversation about the roles that it brings up by using this voice feature. Hey, which job do you think I should go for based on these percentage ratings and why?
Playlab education is at 93%, making it the strongest match since it aligns closely with your experience in building educational programs and coaching on AI integration. The OTI digital equity roles are your.
And so that's a really cool feature that you can have a conversation about any page you're on, just free flowing. Hey, Cynthia, was there a prompt that you wanted to add to the Claude workflow?
Yes. So I'll be sharing 2 prompts. I'll be putting them in the chat. Thank you, Javi, for keeping us on track. And one idea is how I've used it. So I'm a federal employee, and our resumes used to be like 20 pages long, not uncommon because it asks for a lot of detail. So now we went to 2 pages, which is great. But how do you transition from that to private industry? And how do you downsize it? So I have the huge version, and that's how I started when I started my job searching. I have a master one using similar prompts to Javi. I have a master one, and I save that as my master. And then when I'm going to apply for a different job, I'll screenshot it and say, tailor my master specifically for this job. Here's the link, customize it, ask me questions to ensure we are optimizing it for this role and identify gaps. If that percentage, like Javi shared, is not there, look, help me think through how I can augment this. Maybe there's stuff I didn't include in my resume, but help jog my memory. And I'll tell Claude, ask me questions. And sometimes it wants to ask me in paragraph form. I'm like, no, Claude, I do not have this time. Ask me in the survey-like style where I just punch in the number or the letters. Help. In other words, I tell Claude, who's my thought partner, give it to me how I like it, right? So make it as easy as possible. I don't have time to be typing so much. Give me the options in a way I can easily respond by 1 to 3. And one other thing, and that's the prompt that I wanted to share, roles you're not considering, lacking credentials, I'll be putting them in the chat. And one of my favorites that I do for mostly everything that I do with AI is pressure tests. Gaps. So once I have it, I'll put, here's my resume, here's the role, here's the link to the role. Where is my weakness? What am I not thinking about? What have I not captured? Right? So pressure testing your thinking, whatever, or content, whether that's a resume or anything else. I'll pause there, see if there's any question, or Javi, feel free to take it away.
Also, let me add to that when you get the output of your new resume that has been essentially enhanced to fit the job, always remember that you're the human behind it. You're the one behind the controls. So you have a responsibility to go through that document to make sure that nothing was said to exaggerate it or nothing was created or hallucinated, because it still happens. It is AI, but I just share that as a word of advice. Always go over and make sure that you're happy with it and that it sounds accurate to represent that you're the same person who's going to show up for the live interview maybe a week later when you do get that phone call.
Absolutely. 100%. Did you put that text in there, Cynthia? Oh, here it is. All right, I'm going to copy that and paste it. So I'm copying and pasting what Cynthia just posted in the chat. And this is, remember, when you're talking to AI, you're having a follow-up conversation. And so after it tailored that new resume, now we have a great follow-up question using this new resume as a context and reference point. And it's going to identify these roles. Now, while it's doing that, I'm going to make sure I have the summarization feature ready, because while Claude is great for its creativity and it's great for its logic, I don't know if it's 100% as accurate as Perplexity when it comes to citations and fact finding, right? I want to use the benefit of my Comet browser as well. And so I have two AIs essentially in the room working for me. Can you automate applying for jobs? Yeah, you can. If you say take over my browser, and you may have to give it more context before you do that. One big thing that I love to do with any large language model is I love to make sure that the personalized information portion is filled out. So just to take a quick look at what that looks like while we wait for that. Let's say you're in Chat GPT. Let me go back here. And I go right down where it says my name, Javier Zari, and I go to personalize. And I have personal instructions. And I have personal instructions in every large language model that I use. Claude, Perplexity, and I make sure that there's continuity and that these instructions are consistent. So when you say take over my browser and fill this out, it will fill it out based on what it knows about you from your personal instructions, but also from memory and previous conversations. If I uploaded my resume before in, let's say, Claude, my address information is in there. So is my contact information. And so it would upload that automatically because it's saved in its memory. Great question, Olga.
And if I have to start a new conversation, I can do that, because I noticed with Claude, like today I was exploring it and it was adding info from a conversation from 3 days ago. And I was like, no, we're done with that chapter. Where would I go to start a new conversation on this browser? Just curious.
You would start it on the new chat right here. You just hit plus new chat. Now, if you're talking about the Perplexity, I'm sorry, the Comet, browser, then it's going to be a new thread.
New thread. Okay.
Yeah. So the principles are the same. They're usually on the left tab. It's just different wording. New thread, new chat. But because it's stored in memory, Mike, it still may bring up that conversation from 3 days ago. And so that's when you have to add a constraint. When you add constraints to your prompts, you're telling it, do not reference our conversation from the past, or do not reference my personal information in the personal profiles. You're telling it, don't reference this. This way it stays on task, because sometimes they just want to draw from memory because they're trained to do that.
And if I could jump in, way I
Yep.
get around that is if I'm asking like a question from my friend or something totally unrelated that I don't want it to commit to memory, they all have an incognito function. So I use that to ensure it's not going to spill over. Another way that I've been able to circumvent that is by using projects. Most of the tools all pretty much have that. They call it different depending on what model you're using. So for example, like in my Claude, I have a ton of different projects for different things. And because I want to ensure that it's consistent within that line of thinking, and I don't want it to spill over to others. But the best way to get around that is the constraints and going incognito if it's something very private. And then I wanted to circle back, Javi, about the address and name. If you are using a non-paid version, I would highly recommend you do not have that, and you just call yourself John Doe or another name, and you add something as a placeholder just to ensure your data is being protected. Or if you're doing a screenshot, just crop that information out. So I do a lot of consulting, and I want to make sure I'm always very protecting other people's data. And because I don't know how comfortable they are with what, I always make sure to just assign random names. And I get creative and fun. They're not all Jane Doe. Sometimes I'll use Maria. Sometimes I'll say chat, whatever. Right? You get the gist of it. And I just to ensure that I'm protecting their data.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I actually didn't consider that. I thought it'd be the same using the free versus the plus when it comes to putting your information. But is it more protected when you use the paid version?
It depends on the model. They all have different kind of like constitutions about how they go about securing and ensuring that your data is private. The one that's best for that is Claude, and that's why it's been in the news, because it's all about being more conscientious. And most of them, though, on the paid version, allow you to not have your data shared, or you can turn it on or off. But when it's the free, you don't have those parameters built in.
Right.
With the paid, you're given more of a secure platform to play with.
That makes sense. So essentially, they're like, give us more money and we'll give you more rights over your data.
Exactly.
Sounds about right. All right.
I want to ask the audience to unmute and ask any questions or comments. It doesn't have to be a question, but we would like to know what's in your mind. If anything was confusing, we're going to be following up, and this conversation will continue. So please, you can show your faces as well. We would like to have you take a picture of the whole group too once Javi finishes.
There are no silly questions. There are no wrong questions. We're just here to share information and our experience.
Yeah, this is La Mesa. It's like a family dinner.
Anybody, any questions on anything that we discussed, whether it be LLMs generally, how to use it for job hunting, anything that you want us to revisit that maybe we went over too fast?
Hi, this is Virginia. I just want to say great information. And about the paid versions, that's what I learned about, I want to say a year and a half ago, that when you have the paid versions, you have the options to have your preferences secure. So that way you're not sharing. Javier, great job in the first 5 minutes of your presentation, showing us
Thank you.
Opt out and how to use those preferences. That's like key. And so if anyone like if this is being recorded, watch that again, because I think that's so important. I'm all about keeping, I know our information is all out there, but if we can, slow it from being shared, the better.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Virginia, for chiming in and for the accolades as well. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and I think we really should not give up on our data, even though these companies certainly do want us to. I just been asked to start my video. Who did that?
That was my fault. I pressed the wrong
Oh,
button. Apologies.
no
To be honest.
worries. No worries. No
And I
worries.
do
So,
want to circle back to a question that we had from, I believe, Carla, about which one is best to use. And I think you spoke to that, Javi, already, but I just want to
yeah.
ensure that we're doing our due diligence and answering that thoroughly. Like Javi mentioned, it's a great idea to, ask AI which one. Javi, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, when it comes to best, it's always changing for me. When I first started, it was Google Bard before it became Gemini. Um, and then I started to like ChatGPT more, and then I became a huge Perplexity fan, and now I'm Perplexity and Claude. And I'm starting to get back into Gemini. So it's constantly changing for me because these models are always adding improvements. I would just say keep one for your fact and your research. And right now, that's between Perplexity and Gemini. And then keep one for creativity. All right. And then just work with those two together
I
because it
love
could be
that, Javi.
overwhelming.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. And I think that's the thing, right? It's not about which one is better. It's which one is better for the task at hand, right?
exactly.
For example, Perplexity, hands down the best one for research because it'll give you citable, credible references that you can go back to and do a deeper dive on, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of just depends. And having that flexibility is important because there's so many niche LLMs out there for that should be reserved only for certain things. So all in a long way to say is each assignment will require a different tool and just familiarizing yourself with what works. And if you don't know, and I think that's the biggest game changer, and it goes back to kind of the mega prompting notion, is ask your favorite LLM which one is best. Like let's say I want to create I'm doing a pitch for a venture capitalist, right? What LLM should I use to create my slides in, right? How do I
Yeah.
go about it? Ask it to help you get the results you want. But the prompting is key. Who your audience will be, intended goals, any gaps, ask it, give it as much information so that it knows where to direct you. Go ahead, Javi.
100%. No, that captures everything. Final thing I wanted to say, I forgot to mention. Basically, we didn't have time for this feature. But in the Comet browser, when you hit that plus sign, where that's on the bottom where the prompt is, there is a feature that is called Create Files and Apps, and that is what you use to generate docs, slides, and application. And I gotta say, Comet makes the most beautiful slideshows that I've seen of all the large language models from my personal experience. That could have changed. It changes all the time, but as far as I've used it, it's a great feature. So make sure you get to check that out as well. But
So, like
that's pretty
compared
much
to
it.
Notebook LM, for example, like it can create nice slide presentations. Because I know some
Yeah,
people who are stuck for hours on, I hate to say it, PowerPoint, but they're there like trying to move stuff and changes. So it's accurate as far as making something acceptable. You
it's
recommend?
accurate and it's surprisingly artsy.
Oh,
Has nice format, has nice art to it. I can't speak if it's better than Notebook LM slideshow presentations, but from compared to ChatGPT, Gemini, and the others, I liked it more. But I gotta get deeper into the other large language models. It's so hard to keep up, man.
and also we're gonna be closing out now because we're at time. I just want to remind everybody and encourage you to tune into these sessions. We're gonna have one again 2 Fridays from now. I believe April 10th is the date on the calendar. Same time, unless something else comes up. But we know a lot of people are currently in the same situation, fear of AI, will it take my jobs, Microsoft laying off people, the whole situation with TSA and DHS and employees not getting a paycheck. Well,
Yeah.
if they're not actively working, take take a moment and tune into these sessions. That's what this is for. We're here to build each other up as community. And we do them bilingual as well. Most of them are in Espanol, pero we do them in English as well because we want to be accessible to all audiences. So I just remind you and encourage you, tune in, hang out with us, tell somebody what you learned today. I learned a couple of things from you, Javi. I love how you teach. You know, from one educator to another, you're amazing. I got to be very honest. And you explain it so, it's easy. You break it down in chunks, you know, enough that I can digest with my cafecito, which you always got to bring, and a little humor. So,
muchas gracias, hermano. Siempre un placer. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap up. We'll see you in about 2 weeks. If you have any other questions, we do have an email. It's holalamesa@gmail.com. Did I catch that right, Olga?
You missed the point, but yeah, I did that.
Let's drop it in the chat real quick because I don't want to mess that one up.
Thank you, everyone. I'm dropping the link for our survey. If you can please help us, that's very valuable to help inform and shape our next sessions. Also encouraging everybody to drop your socials so we can be connected and continue to grow our community. We appreciate your efforts and being part of this and supporting us. Our goal is to just empower our community by being points of contact to help drive this conversation and continue to expand how we approach this new era that we're in. Thanks again for all of you for being intentional about supporting us and showing up and being intentional about your own development. Thank you all.
Thank you,
everybody.
Hoy me despierto con el sol brillante, la vida es un regalo constante, no hay nada mejor que este instante, agradecido con fe por delante. Hoy yo agradezco cada día, la fe me guía con alegría.
That was awesome. Thank you, Virginia.